So we've talked about what I guess makes French viticultural, the term terroir so important, that sort of viticultural nirvana of a water-stressed grape, small, thick skins, a lot of flavour, very healthy vine to support that. How do we find these inland cool conditions and limestone here in I guess, at Rylstone? So.
Yeah. Well, as Will said before, we looked at the essence of the Côte d'Or and that narrow band of limestone. So we knew that was something that was probably the most important element of what we were looking for. Now, the problem in Australia is we've got a very large tectonic plate, which is very stable, not a lot of coastal formations inland, because we also wanted continental climate. So we had a limited number of options for us. So we went to a lot of regions on the across the southeastern part of Australia. None of them ticked the boxes. Very little had limestone readily accessible, and certainly not in a continental climate environment. So when we were looking around, I guess the key one is, where do you make cement? And where we came across Candos, and that came up in some interesting ways. The Candos cement was used for a lot of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. As young renovators, we used Candos cement, not realising that it was a place. So we came across and we were pointed towards Candos, and we were asking, where are the cement mines? Where are the cement works? Because limestone is cement. So we were then, once we could find cement works, we were going to find limestone. So we went to the various places, and Candos, we were pointed towards Candos. Now, as it turns out, Candos is just very close to us, and the cement mine, the limestone mine, is just over the hill. And we then had to find from the geological maps, where did that narrow band, because as Will said, it's a very narrow band. This is on an old coast. So where did that band run? And you've got lava overflows. And so we needed somewhere where there was a clear access, where the limestone was very close to the surface. And so we found it on this property. And so when you're talking about, that's a combination of detective work and in some parts you have to say good fortune that this place actually existed in Australia. I mean, we never expected that we would find something that ticked all the boxes. We thought as near as we could get, and to find something which is wow, is quite an extraordinary thing even now after 22 years.
So I guess when we're, in summary, what you're saying, so we're sitting on a 450 million year old coastline. We're inland, we've got altitude, we're as cold as Tasmania, as cold as Central Otago, New Zealand, we're actually as cold as Burgundy, and we're inland. When you're just starting to say, well, how would you describe that in terms of, I guess, the way that you see this, the way that, I guess, it fits, I guess, your vision of the future and where it's going to take this, hopefully, this little micro-region of Rylstone here in New South Wales. So,
look, we realised that we had found some conditions that were remarkably similar to Burgundy, and that was unbelievably exciting. Yep. And it drove a lot of, not only because we had to make a decision. First of all, did we go to an established region with established tourist flows, or did we go somewhere to produce the sort of wine we wanted to produce and then solve the problem subsequently of getting the tourists to come to us? Fortunately, we took the second and the harder course, mind you, and so that's what we've built. We've got something here which will be very attractive. You look at the big French wine producers, they've already gone, they're going to the New World, seeking the Burgundians. They're going seeking some of the freedom from the constraints, some of the opportunities to use the learnings from the New World, but in an old world setting. So they've gone to Oregon, their big ones have gone and established big operations there. But we've got the conditions here which would be very appealing to them. So if we go forward, I would be very
you'd hope.
I would hope. I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen over a period of time where, particularly through our French connections, and we've got a lot now with the family and with other, we've had a big embracement by the French communities in Australia that we are producing the equivalent of premium French wine. That I would think that we will find people coming from those regions seeking the conditions that we've got here. So you roll forward, I would expect that where you've got a lot of the Australian wine regions have got Italian heritage or they've got German heritage. We don't have somewhere in Australia which has got a French heritage. So I would expect that this could become the centre of French heritage wine in Australia, and that would be a really rewarding thing for us, because it would validate everything that we've set out to do.
It would, and it'd also be, I think, easier for some of these French or the Burgundian houses, because I know people like Virginie Drouhin, she does a vintage pretty much back-to-back weeks apart in Burgundy, Joseph Drouhin, her family domain, and also Drouhin in Oregon, weeks apart. So we get the secondary sort of lease while there, and their grapes are having a sleep hours or awake and vice versa. So I would love to see that too.